today I want to tell you some of the some of my like life hacks, or how I see how we solve here the prioritization problem, which, as you mentioned, is a evergreen problem for product managers. And if we were meeting offline, I would ask you like to raise the hands if you know Miro, if you have ever used sign up or even maybe pay us. So this is actually what my team is doing, and I would like to see a lot of their hands. And if not, like, this is the problem and opportunity for growth for us. And thanks for those who are raising their hands. For those who don't know, Miro is the online collaborative whiteboard platform, and it's used for teams to collaborate on their projects and ideas, starting from different meetings like running a team retrospective, or running a more facilitated workshop with a broader group, as well as for some personal individual brainstorming or group ideation sessions for different agile rituals, or design practices and low fidelity prototypes. And even this presentation I built in Miro. So like a very horizontal and versatile tool. And you can imagine that there's a lot of different things that we can build. That is why the prioritization is a topic for product managers. But I would like to do a very quick icebreaker, like first things first, when it comes to priorities. Like there's two things, like coffee in the morning, and then in the beginning of meeting, we need to run some icebreaker so people can forget everything that they talk before and start to more like, I know, bond and engage in the existing events. I have a very easy question for you that I would like you to pick the answer that you would prefer. So just imagine imaginary situation. So that 2 months ago, you bought a ticket on the concert that you've been waiting like for a very long time, like because like in 2020 we were on lockdown, and today you've learned that they have an important project meeting at the same time. So what would you do? A, you cancel all your plans and attend the meeting. B, we'll ask a delegate to attend the meeting and we'll go to the concert. C, remind yourself to keep the calendar up to date, so like everything is aware that you're out of the office. D, go to the concert and connect to the Zoom meeting with video and audio turned off. Or E, will delegate to attend the concert and ask the person to connect via Zoom, so you again can manage two events at the same time. So there is a poll that Yuliya put, so please choose an option that you that you prefer the most, so we can see like how the audience in the how the group is feeling right now. And it should be pretty quick. We need more participation, because I see like the percentages. So 70% voted. Okay.
It's incredible how how clear they actually ignored some of the answer options. So it's really interesting to look at.
And this is the first time I tried to do icebreaker on this type of meeting, so I'm interested how it goes as well. So happy that you all participated. So I think we can end the poll now and see the result. So hope you all see the result. You see that you have absolutely a winner. So I'm very happy that you all ready to like not change the plan and like prioritize your own plans over some unexpected things. But like, what is this what is this about? This is a very like easy and fun question, but from this type of questions we also can learn from. First one is, you are a decision maker, so this is you who were making the decision. Two, you can make quick decisions, so it took us like 1 minute to actually choose between those options, and there is usually no right answer, despite the fact that we have a like obvious winner in this question. It's not something that is right or wrong. It's about like what is the right thing to do in their like in existing context with the information that you have, with your personality and all the other stuff. But the product prioritization can be hard. And sorry for the for the quality of this picture. I try to find something fun that will show and visualize the pain that we all experience every day. And it's hard because you have a lot of the stakeholders, or your company is growing, the context is different, you have a high level of uncertainty and ambiguity. The new inputs are coming every day that trying to change your priorities and all that stuff. But the good thing is that we actually all can develop the skill. The prioritization is a skill, and it's developed through experience. And today I will share some things that I've learned through the experience that I have that might be useful for you. And this is never-ending journey. I'm still developing the skill, and I'm still practicing every day. So the first mental model that helps me a lot is thinking like an investor. And I think everyone is kind of familiar with what is it about. I think the major point here is that when you think about prioritization, you're not thinking just about the what feature to build. You're thinking where to invest the whole time of your team that would produce the maximum ROI of this effort that you put in. And there's different types of investors. So some of investors just investment because everyone is investing and it seems to be fun, so why not try to invest? Or thinking, okay, I drive Tesla, watch Netflix, shop on Amazon, I should invest in those companies. And while maybe those companies are the right companies to invest, the approach is not that right. And done it and forgot it, and then never managed it, and don't know what is going on after that. While the successful investors actually usually have a goal, and it's deeply researched the companies that he's investing, their strategies, what is the market, and some news that is happening on that market, and it's constantly managed the portfolio and balance the risk and return. And it's actually a lot of the time and the work that this investor invests. And it's not that it's very easy to be done. You need constantly to make time for this. And just ask yourself, how many hours per week do you spend to estimation of initiatives, really focused and not only initiatives that you're working on right now, but actually working on the backlog. This is the distribution, this is one of the rule distribution of the team that I was asking about to estimate their time. Suggest you to do the same. I mean, just try to honestly answer that question and try to reflect on that. Do you underinvest or overinvest in this? And I personally have blocks in my calendar sometimes to work on different types of the activities. And this what helps me actually to make sure that I won't forget about this. And I come up with some prioritization building blocks. This is Miro version of prioritization blocks that I will go through right now, one by one. And the first one is working backwards. So it's recommend Amazon Amazon book to read on that. But this building block is about we always start with the desired end result in mind, and then figure it out how to get there. So we just prioritize the features. We agreed with all the stakeholders and with the team what we are optimizing for. Only after we decide what is our OKRs, we use quarterly OKRs, set the target, agreed and commit to the target, then we can go to the prioritization technique. Because when you don't know what you are optimizing for, then it becomes harder. But when you have the data where you're right now and where you want to go, then it becomes way easier. So this is the real thing. Prioritization is based on the cold, hard facts. And when you have data and a clear strategy, prioritization becomes easier. And when I say cold and hard facts, is sometimes they're very attached to the things that we want to build or we already designed. But when you try to zoom out and look at them as just the facts, it will help you to reduce the subjectivity of this exercise. And when you look just at the data that you have and you clearly understand where you want to go, it should be way easier. And if you don't have data or if you don't have clear strategy, this is your question to your stakeholders, to your executive team, to yourself, that this things needs to come first before you go and decide what actually you need to build. Then the next building block is what to prioritize. And these are the inputs we are in Miro have when we working on our backlogs, priorities, and roadmaps. So the first one is our strategic bets, so long-term company plays. So if a product manager knows like those are 6 bets that we are working on this year and thinks where my team contribution is needed or where my team consultants is needed, but this is product manager ownership to look for them and analyze and make sure that this input is not missed within their backlogs. The second input is the all type of feedback that we get from the users, all the improvements and delights that we need to build for our user base. While the first inputs is more top down, then the second one is more bottom up. So while making and going to the next phase of growth, we constantly look at what is our user base experience right now and make sure that we are working on the main pain points or the main desires that they have to make sure that we still deliver the best experience that we can. The third one is win-loss analysis insights. So we're not playing on this market alone. There's a lot of other tools, and I believe that's the same for your company case. And you need to be aware of what is happening on the market and read through if there's any data in your company, why you're winning over the competitors, where you're losing. And if you see any patterns, you need to make sure that you have some neutralizers or differentiators in your backlog. And the fourth one is like the quality and minimal market requirements. So if the first three is about like how to build more value for our users, then the fourth is how to make sure that your product is stable, perform at their best. And you don't want to add any shiny things on top of the like shitty product, as we call. That is why something that you always need to keep in mind, and there is no such thing as I could imagine to prioritize over like real critical bugs and like some shiny improvements. You need to fix things first. And yeah, that's a lot. And while I'm talking about all these inputs and while it's important, and this is how we see it in Miro, and those could be different in your company. So it's just good also exercise to sit through and think about where you get inputs and the context that inform your backlog and your priorities, and also make sure that you look through them on some constant basis so you don't miss any important context for your planning and prioritization. Because what is often happening, some unexpected important initiative that is very urgent coming and ruin all your priorities and you're stressed out. It's not in 80% of the cases. Yes, COVID happens, but like it's very unique situation. But in 80% of situation, those initiative is not that unexpected. It was unseen before. It means that while you were looking through the inputs, while you're building your plans, one of the inputs like competitor analysis was missed. And then at some point it's become unexpected. That is this is my mental model. That is why, again, it's super important to make sure you have time and focus to work on all the context and get those contexts, and it's your job to go and proactively seek for that context to help to do your job better. And then how to prioritize, and there's like the magic happens. Like we have a lot of different frameworks that I believe we all know, aware about, have used before. There's dozens, hundreds. If you Google, you find a lot of some popular ones, Moscow, Kana model, RICE, jobs to be done prioritization, and all the other stuff. And when you're early in the journey, I think it's super important to know them, to try them out, to understand what is the framework that works for your specific area, for your problems for your company, for the culture that you're working on, for situation, and building that muscle to understand like different criteria that you can use to do the prioritization, even create your own prioritization framework. But like, it doesn't always help. I mean, not each prioritization framework itself, but the volume of them. So you don't have to use like 5 prioritization frameworks to solve one of the problem. Sometimes you need just one. And even the framework is not the answer. You feel the data in the framework, but it doesn't tell you actually what to build. It just helps you to make sure that you look through all the criteria that might be important for you to make the decision. And I will share like 2 most loved and used mental models and frameworks in our company. So the first one is in like McKinsey 3 Horizon model, and this is how we manage the overall investment portfolio. So like the idea is that you need to spend like 70% of the time on more of a known fields where you have a higher confidence, and you playing and optimizing or building new functionality for existing audience and existing known field, while you make sure that you invest 10% of your team's time to uncover new opportunities for the long-term growth. And when we are prioritizing, we always look at, and when we build the backlog or roadmap, we then zoom out and look how many of them are optimization versus new bets versus like new opportunities, or some like really crazy ideas that we have a very like zero confidence that it might work, but we want to try. Because later on, those like crazy ideas and strategic bets will become your horizon 1 that you will optimize for. As an example, maybe, so we have we always had templates, like since the beginning, I think. And this is what our horizon 1. We know that the template is needed, people use the templates, we added the templates, changed the templates experience and all the stuff. But last year we thought, okay, but what if we will ask our users to generate the templates, and will the user generated content loop work for us or not? And we started to build the Miroverse, and like on a growth team, that was one team that were 5 people who were working on this for 1 quarter. So it was 10% of investment that we work on the next horizon. And when we validated that this is working for us, we now started to optimize in this wheel. But not everything actually work it out, but it's important to check the waters, what is working and what is not for your future growth. And the next, let's call it framework. This is what we use inside Miro, how we do this opportunity impact scoring, and what are the criteria that we are looking at while we're making decision, is it the right problem to solve or not? This is the right solution to solve or not. So the first is strategic value. So overall alignment with the company OKRs, the company's strategic bets. The business value, we have like main metrics like new user acquisition, weekly active users, or ARR. The customer value, just how many people will be affected, and like value for enterprise customers specifically, because they're different set of personas and like important segment for us. The competitive value, how it helps us to compete or not, and our confidence. So how much evidence you have for all those assessments. And that's because you might feel and have a great intuition that it will work greatly on all of the values that we've listed, but it's just intuition. You have low evidence, but maybe high confidence actually. So it's also important to make sure that the team is on the same page with you. What we also do sometimes is risk assessment, because all these criteria before is more about like, if we do it, then this great things will happen. What sometimes we forgot is like, but there's some bad things that might happen. And like in our case, we always balance between growing the usage versus growing monetization. And we want, like every time we launch an experiments for monetization and revenue, we have a balancing metric for revenue and the usage. We don't want over over monetize for the sake of the usage. That is why for us it's important. Or sometimes we might forget, just like if we do it right now, we'll have a short-term gain and impact, but for the long term, it actually will hurt us. So it's also like important sometimes to wear your black hat and start to think not about all the great things that may happen, but also like what are the like bad things that may happen. And cost of delay is also sometimes a super important criteria when we look at different initiatives. It's not for everything, but also valuable. It's still a lot, like 5, 6 dimensions that you have to look at. That is why, going back to the beginning of my presentation, it's super important to align with the stakeholders, with the team, what you're optimizing for. You will definitely do trade-offs. So it's very hard to do good for all like 5, 6 criteria, and make sure that you choose one primary metric, one secondary metric, and all the others just like monitoring. Because the more metric, the more things that you try to actually achieve, the harder then for you will be to make the decision up to you, like did this experiment, because it will derail you like into different directions. Then like one of the most interesting topics, so about like, but how to estimate this importance. And under importance, I mean value and urgency, how to do the estimation. And it's very, I think, easy to do when you have like the data analyst and you know like you're working on a known field, you have all the numbers, so it's just a number play. But sometimes it's not the case. And if I could give you only one advice, I would say that you have to make a bet. Don't ever leave a blank space or a space when you're prioritizing or estimating the input. Without doing guesstimates, you will never do the estimates. Through the analyze, learn, and iterate cycle, you will actually learn and build your intuition, what we call, I call it my inner artificial intelligence, that is actually built through that experience. Yes, we don't know all the data in the world. We don't know like the user base of the partnerships, like their conversion and all the other stuff, but we can guesstimate. And this is what I do, like when I don't have the data. I put like, this is my 5 assumptions. And like, for example, they will have like 2 million but it's not like out of the blue. Of course, I can Google something or like try to think what is the closest experience to what we're building right now, and like put down like my assumptions. And then when I get the results, I always go back to them and put the real actuals and analyze where I was right, where I was not. And like through this cycle, actually, it helps to build your intuition and build your muscle. Because if you will put a blank or X space, you will not analyze, learn, and iterate at all. That is why this is like my usually the main question that I ask to the team. Like, let's add some numbers, like put a number here. Yeah, but if I could give you one more advice, I would say that don't do it alone for too long. The good decision makers are quick decision makers. And if you don't have enough data, just ask for help and ask for context. Escalate, work with your team, with your manager, with the stakeholders, but help yourself to make it quicker, to move forward and to learn faster. And there's also sometimes some magic happens when you try to formulate the question to ask for help. You formulate it in a way that you actually get the answer yourself. So that's also happening, but it's not something that is, I don't know, it's bad to ask for help. It's actually a very great skill. And I also like encourage you not to spend too much time on this type of decision, on estimation and guesstimation. And the last building block is practicing every day and build your muscle on all of these building blocks, all of these mental models that I've covered. Like we sometimes want to like prepare for the summer, you know, and do workout every day. If you just watch YouTube videos or read books, but don't do them or don't change your like eating habits, it didn't work. The same with the prioritization. You need to practice with it and you will start do it easier and quicker within your own domain and area first. And then like the growth in the skill is happening when you try to do it in cross company initiatives. And to do this, you have to zoom out, you have to reduce the subjectivity as much as possible. So it's less about this is my feature versus your feature, is more about like this feature create this impact, this feature create this impact. So you're comparing not the owners, you're comparing the impact. And it's also some like known fact that we tend to prioritize what is easier or what we want to build versus what we need to build. And it's also like a skill to catch your cognitive biases in this field. And how to do this is through learn how to ask the right questions, how to write the right question to get the context that you need to make those decisions. And one of the examples is aging questions. If you don't know, recommend to read. There's a lot of articles on this. This is specifically linked from Coda, but there's actually like the one question that will help you to answer all the other questions. And this is really the art of framing the problems that help to navigate the discussion with your stakeholders and like within your team. So these are takeaways from the slide. So first, the prioritization is a skill, and we are developing it through experience and trying to make it as often as possible. We usually start with understanding what we're optimizing for, not just prioritizing the features. We're thinking about investing the team and time of the team and where it is spent to produce the maximum ROI. We ask for data, we ask for context, and we ask for clear strategy to make our prioritization easy. We learn, we make sure that we include all the inputs when we are we're building our backlogs and the roadmap. We learn how to make the bets and we learn from them, and we make time for practicing every day, or at least like every week, maybe for a start. And the easiest life hack that I had is actually put some time in your calendar to do this. So thank you. I think right now we can go to Q&A. If you are growing and like seeking for new opportunities, our team, like the overall Miro team is growing too. It's a really big and global company already. So go to miro.com career page and find something interesting for you. We'll be happy to talk with you on this as well.
Thank you so much, Yuliya. I can totally back that up. We have former speakers from PMF who actually transitioned to Miro, and it seems like a really cool place to work. And it's a company which is growing, which is always calming in this time of we're living. So check out the opportunities. And if you have questions, I think this is the right time to ask them. We have still a few minutes. We can take some questions from you. Just write them in the chat and we can then ask you to unmute. Before that, I would like to ask, I'm interested in, you've mentioned practice every day. Do you have any recommendation in terms of how often should we set priorities and how often do we change priorities? I personally am challenged because depending on what's in the what's evident in that moment, priorities might change. And is there a recommended interval from your point of view to keep the priorities?
Yes, when I'm saying to practice every day is not about like change the priorities every day. It's more about like, for example, on Tuesday, I'm reviewing the win-loss analysis. I mean, like I'm practicing every day to make sure I have the whole context to plan for the future. And on Monday, I look through the data and dashboards, usually to walk through previous week results to understand where the difference is. On Tuesday, I've looked 30 minutes to read through some NPS channel, feedback channel, to analyze what are the maybe new patterns arise in the feedback that we get. On Wednesday, I book like 30 minutes to talk with somebody who can help me, I don't know, like with leadership team on strategic bets. So like just reviewing the roadmaps. I try to incorporate different blocks like throughout the week or like bi-weekly cadence. So it's not for me a surprise, a heavy load when I plan in the quarter or when something is urgently happening and I need to do all this stuff at once. I'm trying like to split it in small pieces to make sure it's easier for me to answer the question, hey, can you do this or not? Because I say, okay, because sometimes the question is like, can your team, for example, change to this one? And you said like, no, I can't, we're working on this one. The next question is like, but what we will not deliver if you will switch? And then sometimes like teams don't have the full backlog or the full picture. And I said, oh, I need like 2 days and I will show you. When you do it like piece by piece every day, you already have some insight so you can quicker answer those questions and also like share their impact or share the reach to their like stakeholders, to the peer that will understand the context that you have and why it's important to work on something that you is working, and actually understand that their request is actually a lower priority, because we all live in our own like domain, and like we see that this is the most important within your domain. I think when we trying to combine them, this is where the biggest challenge came, how to compare like apples and like oranges, I don't know, something like that. And this is what helps when every person have actual understanding how much value it will bring to the strategic bet or competitive. On this level, they have the same language they're speaking. They're not speaking about features.
Thank you. I see some questions here. There's one question from David. David, if you want to unmute to ask it yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hey, great presentation. Thank you.
Thanks
so much for sharing that. Yeah, I just had a question. Do you ever find that you put that effort into prioritizing what the team should focus on, but perhaps, you know, there's a strong stakeholder group or individual who maybe overrules that, you know, a strong sales director or, you know, that kind of thing? Does it ever happen or not?
So that might happen, but then like I mean, and this is also thankful to our culture that we have here, like whatever like the stakeholder, like the level of that stakeholders come in with the idea, I always ask why you want to do this, why do you think so, what context you have, what evidence we have, even like I can like share a couple of the questions, and like this person, sometimes it's like strong stakeholders can answer all those questions, and actually I can see like, yeah, this is the thing that we need to build, all the other things are not important, and then we agree. But sometimes like we think that because the stakeholder like is a CEO, for example, the voice is like is strong, but actually intention of that person is like, I'm just sharing an idea, but we hear it like we need to build it as up. That is why like my first thing, and like what I coach the team is go and ask to figure it out. Like, do you think we need to build it right now? Are you sharing just ideas? Why do you think? Do you have a context? Like what if we just will take it to the research phase? Will it like work for you or not? And like in this questioning and like collaboration and conversation, we actually can understand each other better and share the context that we have. Like this shared understanding and shared context is super important, especially like the bigger the company, the more important it becomes.
Thank you. That's excellent. Yeah, you're right. They do sometimes just want to share an idea, and it's good to. That's a good strategy. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Even right now, I usually, because I know that this could happen, I usually write, hey, I'm just sharing an idea, like no action items needs for you, but like maybe we can research something like that. Yeah. So like from stakeholder perspective, and like when you are also stakeholders for some of them, it's also important to understand another like other side. and think, okay, what I can do to make sure that I understood, that people understand me right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have another question from Carmen. Carmen, would you like to ask your question?
Sure. Hi. So again, thanks for the presentation. My question is tied a little bit more about framing the prioritizations or the items that are prioritized, because one of the things that I noticed that gets bogged down a lot, especially with younger teams and earlier businesses, is that they try to prioritize solutions, but they skip over actually understanding and prioritizing the problems. So I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to this part specifically about the problem prioritization before moving on to actually solutions and features and all of these items. Where does that fall into place at Miro?
Yeah, cool. That's a great question. Yeah, we're actually prioritizing, first we're prioritizing the problems. So the first question that the product guild is answering is this the right problem to solve? And even within product management frameworks and processes we use, we have phase 0, phase 1, phase 2 product reviews. So phase 1 review is actually the product managers bring to the table the problems that they want to solve. So they presented all the inputs that I've covered, that what our users experience and why it's important to actually right now started to solving these problems area. And if there is no strong objections and they get the other context that they might missing, they move working on solutions to solving those problems. And this is our phase 1 product reviews. This is where we're already reviewing, is this the right solution? And how we will test if this solution will actually solve that problem or not. And we can prioritize, how we will test the solutions. It's way easier than to prioritize the problem. I mean, you just need to it's more of a, how to say, sometimes the hardest decision actually to prioritize equally good options. Sometimes it's just pick one of them and go, and we are mostly prioritized for the speed of delivery and speed of learning, while maintaining the quality. And the next phase of review is actually they bring the results, how this solution is solving this problem. And so we're learning and iterating and discussing if we are if we live in this solution inside our product, are we improving the solution? Are we working on the other solution for that problem? Are we satisfied with the results that we have? Are they the same as we as we put what successful looks like? So this is the process that help us to make sure that we first prioritize the problem, then we choose the right solution to solve that problem, and then analyze if the solution is actually solving that problem. I don't know if it's answering questions in it.
Yeah, I guess so. So basically, when you're looking at all the data that you're gathering from users, from the market, from stakeholders, and so on, that would point towards something that you would like to solve, correct? Yep. And from there, you would go ahead and basically see which solution would allow you to learn the fastest. Yep. Okay, yep. Thanks.
And also, we kind of divide in the responsibilities that the product manager is responsible for choosing the right problem to solve. While then, more the leading role on the UX and UI designers is to design the right solution to solve that problem. And product manager is more of a partnering collaborator role, but this is the phase where a designer is the leader. And then they together with the analyst working on analyzing the results of their solution.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.